Nah, somebody got to be held accountable for this.
When were you not allowed to go to school? There were
women.
As a result of the segregation, they were creating black universities and things like that.
I completely disagree with that.
Why?
It's just
What
not
part
true.
of that you disagree with?
How have blacks gone downhill? Black women, particularly, are the most educated demographic of people in the whole country. In 2023, that's an improvement because there were times where we weren't even allowed to go to school.
But
And they're very
educated women
happy.
don't make for good wives and good mothers.
I completely disagree with that.
Why is that?
It's just not true. It's sexist. It's a lot of misogyny in there, and it's just not true.
We gonna laugh, we gonna learn, but somebody got to be held accountable. What's good? What they do? It's your boy Purple Lips. Ain't broke no more. All praise to the Most High. Welcome back to the ABN movement.
Oh man, today we got one of the most stubborn, educated women I've ever seen in my life. And Jesse Patterson, you know what I'm saying? He was talking about how he had a lived experience through the Jim Crow era and argues despite the racism, that black families were still stronger, you know what I'm saying? And the woman, she basically disagrees with every fact that Jesse Lee presents. Yet her reaction, emotions, and contradictions end up proving all his points. Hey man, we love women on this channel, you know what I'm saying? This is just about programming and deprogramming. Hakuna Matata.
Know that the civil rights movement was, other than abortion, the worst thing that ever happened to the blacks.
No, I don't agree with that.
And why not?
I don't see why it would be the worst thing to ever happen to the blacks. Being able to have desegregation and being able to be treated like a full and equal human in society, although we still have our issues and systematic racism still exists, a lot of good came from the civil rights era.
I grew up in Alabama, as I said, during the time that so-called Jim Crow law existed. I remember for colors on it, for whites on it, blah, 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 kind of water fountain and all that. But the blacks were doing better then than they are today, in that they bought land, they owned homes, they went to universities if they wanted to, they had trades. When the kids left home, graduated, left home, they started businesses, bought homes. And the Jim Crow law existed. But it brought the best out of the blacks because they had to do for themselves, right? They couldn't blame someone else, and they did the best. They would be like the Jews are today had not the civil rights movement happened. And but when the civil rights movement happened, the blacks gave up their families for the government. They gave up their becoming an individual for the so-called black leaders like Martin Luther King and Jesse Lee, all those people. They turned their lives over to them. And those people told them, racism is this, y'all can't make it. Y'all need us, y'all need this. And the blacks have gone downhill ever since. They have never returned back to normal. Have you noticed that?
I completely disagree with that.
Why?
It's just
What
not
part of
true.
that you disagree with?
How have blacks gone downhill? Black women, particularly, are the most educated demographic of people in the whole country. In 2023, that's an improvement because there were times where we weren't even allowed to go to school prior to.
Educated or indoctrinated? Y'all let me know.
To, certain things being protected.
When were you not allowed to go to school? There were
women.
As a result of the segregation, they were creating black universities and things like that, which brought out the best in blacks then. And then the education that they were getting is much better than the education they're getting out of black schools because, how black folks are, they don't care. But
I disagree.
the education was no good. And if you notice, the black women who are getting the so-called education, it's putting them on a false pedestal, and they think they're better than everybody. Now they're lonely, they're lost, they're angry, and nobody want to deal with them. So they got worse rather than getting better.
I completely disagree. I know plenty of black women who are happily married and educated. I'm going to my friend Tati's wedding next weekend. Black woman, black man.
She
has a
educated?
master's degree,
Oh,
and she's
man.
getting married a black man.
But
And they're very
educated women
happy.
don't make for good wives and good mothers.
I completely
Oh.
disagree with that.
Why is that?
It's just not
Get
true.
'em.
It's sexist. It's a lot of misogyny in there, and it's just not true.
What's not true about that?
Why does education stop you from being a good mother? Explain to me why having education means you're not a good mother.
Smarter education prepare women for a partnership or independency at all costs. Hakuna Matata.
A woman that's educated, she thinks she's equal to a man, and so she's gonna want to go to work. She's gonna want She's going to try to make the man become the woman at the house. She's not going to want to obey her husband.
Why would a
She's
man
not
become a
gonna
woman because a man, is he not also going to work?
Because a woman is educated think that she should work and not be at home raising his children and clean, you know, keep the house going and things like that. And they don't care about the children. Educated women don't care about the children. They're going to throw them off in a daycare center just so they could get their ego fulfillment. So they don't really make for good wives and good mothers.
Yeah, I completely disagree with that.
Why do you disagree with that?
Because it's just not true. I know a lot of women who are educated. My mother was very educated. She went to school. She raised me well. So now I too have a master's degree. I have my pick of the litter. There are plenty of men that want me. I can guarantee you that. And I have my own business, so it works.
But you haven't mentioned what's good about
this. The ABN movement. If you made it this far, I appreciate y'all. Go ahead and press that like button. And if you like the video, go ahead and join the movement. We post 4 times a week. This your boy Purple Lips. Ain't broke no more. Thank you.
None of that.
I think she raised
at all that. That's a good thing.
She raised a happy, healthy, functioning adult that was able to grow a business while being educated. And
nothing good about that.
What's wrong with it? What's bad about it?
We're talking about a woman staying home and raising the man's children.
Explaining your point on how that makes her a bad mother. Like where did she go wrong?
By trying to fulfill her ego.
But where
thinking
did
that
it
she's
not
equal
work?
to a man, rather than having the love of raising the man's children, being there for the children and being there for the.
Are you saying that women who have an education can't raise their kids?
Right.
Why?
Because they are the ego trip. They try to go to prove that they are like a man.
Who raised
would you ever? Are you planning to get married one?
I would just go on to say that, you know, because they're working, you know what I'm saying? Basically, they have to hand the kids over to the government and the programming of the kids through the government, you know what I'm saying? Because they're working. At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? She seems like she has to understand that marriage requires roles, you know what I'm saying? Roles, sacrifice, and it's a legacy, you know, at the end of the day. So,
yeah.
Would you ever obey your husband?
Sure.
You would stay home, you would let all this education stuff go?
Yeah, I'm not staying at home.
Why?
Because I don't want to.
Well, why get married if you don't love your husband, your children enough to stay home and watch over his children?
I don't even want children, so
you don't want
children? Be married with my husband, traveling the world, and living my best life.
So why get married then?
Why
you
not?
can do that.
I want partnership and companionship. Right. I want to build, again, marriage does come with certain things, like you are tied to that person, you buy homes together, you have better credit, your taxes is lower. There's a lot of benefits to marriage that aren't based on having children.
But those are selfish benefits.
That's what I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying? Hey, anybody who go ahead and agree with that logic, go ahead and press that like button, you know what I'm saying? Guess what? You're selfish, you know what I'm saying? And don't take that like button back, because you're just selfish. You selfish if you believe that what man wants a marriage or woman or a kid and doesn't want kids, you know what I'm saying? She's very selfish. She's a very selfish woman. Let's go ahead and proceed. Can a woman truly want marriage if she rejects family and submission? Hakuna Matata.
Oh, see, yeah. And you were raised by a single woman, right?
I was raised by a married woman.
But she didn't stay home.
So?
Right? She didn't stay home and raise you.
What's your point?
I rest my case.
What's your point? I feel like it worked. I'm fine. Like if your argument were true, that would mean that my mother would have to fail in some way, right? That would have meant that she didn't do a good job raising me, that I had some sort of troubles, I wasn't able to succeed in life, and that like her status, because eventually my parents did get divorced, and that did not have a negative effect on me being able to grow up and
did they get divorced while you were young?
Yeah.
While you were still living at home?
Correct.
Oh, I thought you said you were raised by both parents.
For a little bit. Then they got
So
divorced.
you weren't raised by both parents. See, I told you, educated women don't make for good wives and good mother. And now you're an adult. If you got married, number one, you're not gonna.
See, the more she talks, the more she proves Jesse's point. You know what I'm saying? And she has to understand that you can't want marriage while rejecting the whole foundation of marriage. You know what I'm saying? A lot of men are gonna want kids, and marriage requires roles. sacrifice, and it's a legacy at the end of the day.
If your argument were true, that would mean that my mother would have to fail in some way, right? That would have meant that she didn't do a good job raising me, that I had some sort of troubles, I wasn't able to succeed in life, and that like her status, because eventually my parents did get divorced, and that did not have a negative effect on me being able to grow up and
Did they
become
get divorced while you were young?
Yeah,
While you were still living at home?
correct.
Oh, I thought you said you were raised by both parents.
For a little bit. Then they got
So you
divorced.
weren't raised by both parents. See, I told you, educated women don't make for good wives and good mother. And
disagree.
now you're an adult. If you got married, number one, you're not gonna.
And that's what you call checkmate. You know what I'm saying? The more she talk, man, the more she proves my boy point, man.
Obey your husband. Number two, you don't want to have children. There's no reason to get married.
To you.
Because you can party by yourself like that. You have friends, and you can take your male friends with you and everything.
To you.
Is that right?
To you. There's no reason to get married to you, but there's going to be, for me, I still see a reason.
There's
Do
no
you
benefit
believe-
to any man.
Did you go
Not
to a
him.
black university?
Any man for that.
No.
Which one you went to?
University of North Texas.
North Texas. Do you believe that
Are emotions being mistaken for intelligence? Go to Matata.
women should stay home and raise the man children?
I believe that women are allowed to make whatever choice makes them the most happy, feel the most fulfilled, and feel the most safe. If they're staying at home, then stay at home. If you don't want to, then you don't have to.
Do you believe that they should stay at home and raise the man children?
If they want to. I don't believe, again, we talked about freedom. I really believe in freedom. So I believe
Right.
in, if that's what a woman wants to do you, boo. And if you don't, then don't.
But do you believe she should, since she got married, she should obey her husband and stay home and raise his children,
I believe she should do whatever she wants. That's what I believe.
and not what he wants?
Correct.
Really, not what her husband wants?
Right. As a husband should do whatever he wants to do because we're autonomous people with freedom, right?
Do you
Man,
believe
that's
that a
crazy.
woman should obey her husband?
She should do whatever she wants to do. Whatever works in
No,
the
I'm asking you, what do
household.
you believe? Do you personally believe that a woman should obey her husband?
I don't like the word obey. I believe in communication, collaboration,
Oh.
and whatever makes the most sense for your household. So if the husband wants to lead the household and the woman believes that's what makes the most sense for their household and they come to an agreement on that, a meeting of the minds, and they agree that's how their household should be ran, then that's how it should be ran. But again, I believe in meeting of the minds.
You know, it's really messed up that she really let a word obey gets in her way when at the end of the day, she has a boss that she attends to, or had a boss at some point, or has a mother that it's always a hierarchy in every situation. And obey, you're gonna have to obey to your boss. You know what I'm saying? In the household, why would you even have a man in your house that you wouldn't want to obey? You don't respect to the degree to where you don't obey or respect his mind. Let's just use a different word and say respect. You know what I'm saying? What if he gives you respective authority? You know what I'm saying? Do this because of that. You know, it makes sense. Are you not gonna obey what he's saying? Because at the end of the day, that's what you're doing. You're obeying, despite the word that you like to use or not. You know what I mean? But this independency mindset is really very destructive, and it's chaotic in a relationship.
Communication and collaboration. Whatever works for one might not work for another family unit. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors in somebody's home. So whatever makes the most sense for their marriage to succeed is what they should do.
Amazing. You don't like the word obey, you say?
Yeah, obey sounds, again,
Amazing.
I believe women are equal to men. So we're just going to disagree on that.
I
knew it.
What's wrong with
I knew it. I knew she felt like men and women are equal. You know what I'm saying? And that's why she had this whole freedom mindset. But long term, is very destructive, and it's chaotic in relationships. The mentality is chaotic in relationships long term. So, you know, for me, you know, this, you can do whatever you want. It works for right now. It makes you feel good, validated, everything temporarily. But long term, money, status, lifestyle, it does not fulfill family structure, value, and legacy at all.
the word obey?
Because obey sounds like an authority.
It is.
And I
A
don't
dictator
Yeah, and my
and
husband
being
should not
supposed
be
to
a dictator.
dictate in the home.
Completely disagree.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you a Christian?
Yeah, I grew up Christian.
Well, Christ said that a woman should obey her husband. Was he wrong too?
Sure,
Christ was wrong?
Damn.
The God you believe in was wrong when he said that.
sure.
Amazing. You notice that since women have been given the right to vote, that the country going to hell in a handbasket
Absolutely
because
not.
women don't make good decisions.
And
It's
what
not.
evidence do you have to support that stance?
If you notice that, for example, in the Democratic Party, since they got more women representatives, the blacks are relying on government more. They are relying on free stuff. They want reparations. They want everything free.
And that's because of
And
women?
because they have more women voters. I know they have weak black men in there too, but mostly women. And women tend to approve stuff like that, like abortion and all that. They tend to be emotional because women live in their imagination and emotion. And the decisions are made on how they feel and not what is right, the best thing.
I have to disagree with that. Women are still the minority in Congress and in the Senate, so there's still less women than there are men. So the people who have the majority to vote and the most power are still men. And we talk about women being emotional when it comes to decision making, but historically, women didn't have rights or access to be able to make those decisions. And we still went to wars. You know, we still have famine. We still had disenfranchisement when women didn't even have power. So to say that things have gotten worse when we've seen society progress since women have been a part of the picture just isn't valid, in my opinion.
But have you noticed that there are things that are happening in the country today that when men were ruling would not be? It would not, like same-sex marriage and abortion and all that.
Yeah.
It would not be, but as soon as women get in position of power, those things come about because women, again, they tend to be emotional and they tend to go the wrong way if they're not led by men.
I completely disagree with that 100%. People have been having abortions. Abortion is even in the Bible. Like abortion just became safer and we started to medically regulating it. But if a person doesn't want to have a kid, they're not going to have it. And sometimes they often take their own life trying not to have a baby because they're not ready. So that's not the response.
I'm glad you said that point because they risked their life to do that. You know what I'm saying? That's how much of a sin it was. It was not recommended or given to them as assistance to they didn't have no system to, you know, get rid of kids. That was up to you, and you risked your life to do it. And not only did you risk your life, it was still a sin. Right? Look, this ain't about hating nothing like that. You know, nobody this ain't about men against women. She actually made this argument about men and women, you know what I mean? Because Jesse was just saying that times were better as a family unit, as you meaning both of us, man and female. And then she makes it this whole thing about men versus women and women being better than they were back in the day. But he's talking about as a unit, everything was better. So she made this thing about men and women in the first place. But really, honestly and truly, bro, this is really about order. Here's the Purple Lip breakdown. When women reject structure and men stop leading, family collapse in general. You know what I'm saying? Jesse didn't expose her with insults or nothing like that. He actually exposed her with the truth. You know what I'm saying? Well, over here, we anti-delusional. You know what I'm saying? If we don't restore accountability, the next generation pays the price at the end of the day. Kuna Matata.
Hey, man. Accountability before excuses. Ain't broke no more spiritually, mentally, and systematically. This ain't broke no more movement. We building brick by brick. I'll see y'all in the next video. I'm out.